these two, one of a kind. And now it is my immense honor to introduce Rabbi Ruvain Firestone, who needs no introduction. He's an author, a professor, the founder of the Center for Muslim-Jewish Engagement, and one of our mentors on the New Ground team. Please help us welcome Rabbi Ruvain Firestone to present the award.
I don't know if you know this about Alan, but he's colorblind, at least that's what he told me, and music blind. He's also race blind, and he's also ethnic blind. He's the kind of a person who moves right through those thin veils and gets down to the real of the human being. Some people just turn me on, he told me. It's who they are. It's people's integrity that moves me. So for those of you who don't know Alan, he helped make it possible for New Ground to become its own independent organization in 2012, enabling it to expand and amplify its message in LA, in the US, and around the world, really. Alan is a retired investment manager. I know they're really trying to signal. And Nancy, Alan's partner and wife, is the founding director of the Hebrew Union College. It's hard for me to say that. I'm the faculty of Hebrew Union College. Hebrew Union College Skirball Museum. And when it transitioned to the Skirball Cultural Center Museum, she continued to be its director until she retired in 2002. Together, Nancy and Alan are responsible for the Philip and Muriel Berman Foundation, started by Nancy's parents in 1958 to fund art and education and health programs. Their philanthropic legacy continues with support for the arts and culture, higher education, and Jewish and interfaith programs, including their ongoing support for New Ground. Now, I don't want to embarrass Alan and Nancy. In fact, they are generous of spirit and generous in many other ways. But they shun recognition. They've refused many invitations like this one to be honored. However, they've accepted this invitation to be recognized as trailblazers, and I take that as a very important statement. As Alan and Nancy both told me separately, it's because of the truly unique nature of New Ground that they've agreed to be here. I asked Nancy and Alan if there was anything that they wanted me to tell you about them, and they both demurred. But Nancy said to me, Alan is the thought leader for our commitment to New Ground. He's the one who's driving our commitment, and it's his enthusiasm that has enthused me. That was a smart move, Nancy. So I'll mostly leave you alone and just embarrass Alan for a minute.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I've had the privilege of getting to know Alan over the last few years as he's taken an ever deeper interest in Muslim-Jewish relations. We had lunch together the other day, and he told me, you live long enough, with so many experiences, good and bad. As I get older, I notice how I'm deeply stirred by religious spirit. It's a successful marriage with something fundamental in religion. He went on, New Ground is the bringing together of two great religions and a marriage of sorts. The organizers may think they're doing conflict management, but they're really bringing together two religions. This is cross-fertilization, it's strength and power, the eternal drinking from the font of religion in a positive rather than negative way. And he said, if it works, you fund it. If it works better, you fund it more. If it doesn't work, then say so long. And he ended with, New Ground is working, and it's working better and better all the time. One last comment. I haven't gotten to the dirt yet. A last comment about what Alan said, and I want to share it with you. He said, New Ground is a utopian project. And he went on, this word utopian has unfortunately been trashed, but I'd like to resurrect it. The utopian process is trying to support deeply truthful values that move not only the individual, but many people. Some people bet their life on it. The desired utopia is never achieved, and some people just keep on going. I sense that's because within us is something larger than we are, and it drives us. Only death interrupts the utopian drive. We're striving. I don't know what causes it, It's striving beyond itself for whatever reason, for perfection, or maybe to perfect the world, even though we understand that it will never be completed. Some people throw themselves into impossible projects, yet they know they must do it. It's beautiful, and we must assist in this quest. Now you know that Alan said it when you hear it's beautiful. I've seen him describe something or someone that awes him, and he looks up with a smile and he says, it's beautiful. When Alan talks about Newground, he says, it's beautiful. It has transformed the religious spirit. It uses contemporary, even corporate tools, he said, and then blends them with brotherhood and what one would call spiritual. These words and notions, it's beautiful, transforming the religious spirit, using corporate tools to wed brotherhood with the spiritual, these all describe Alan too. Thanks, Alan, and thank you, Nancy. And here we have it, a match made in heaven. Not only is that match Alan and Nancy, but now also Alan and Newground. Remember that according to both Jewish law and Islamic law, a man can have more than one wife. I think this is probably exactly the right form of polygamy, you know? A match made in heaven. Mazel tov, mabruk, and I think you have some remarks, right? And I can welcome you. So please welcome my friend and mentor, and now also Trailblazer. Now.
I'm the practical one, he's the philosophical one, so I'm just going to start and say thank you, Ravane, for that very, very beautiful tribute. It's very moving, as has been this entire morning. It's wonderful and a bit humbling to receive the Susie Marks and Wally Marks Jr. Trailblazer Award, especially in this town. Susie and her late husband, Wally, are legendary community activists at the forefront of so many pioneer social change efforts. Newground is blessed to be included in their efforts. Al and I want to thank you and the Newground community for this recognition. Today's event has given Alan and me the opportunity to share Newground with so many of our family and friends who responded to our special invitation. And especially Cousin Frida, Catholic, who opened her heart and her prodigious Rolodex. We truly thank all of you for your generosity and your presence. Newground is a young organization, but it's mighty. Newground is small by general measures of budget, staff, and constituents, but it is huge in its vision, its impact, and its methods. It's local, focused on making pluralism a reality, not just an aspiration or a national concept. Newground believes in hope, but knows it has to be nurtured and activated. Newground's inspired leaders and thinkers have crafted a powerful way to seek diverse people around the table to study, to share, and to do community service together, to become friends. It's not a little thing to build this trust and respect, but they have found a way. How do I know about this? Because of the person I most want to thank today, Alan. He's really been the trailblazer with Newground. Yes, we are both honored and feel privileged that we could direct much needed seed support from the Philip and Muriel Berman Foundation to Newground. But Alan is the person who, when he discovered Newground, understood its profound possibility. He became a passionate advocate and even advisor. He has made his family proud that we are a part of Newground. So thank you, Alan, and let's hear from your heart and mind.
Not bad, 42 years and going.
See how this is going to work. Tell me if you don't get this right. Here, our executive director, Aziza Hazan, has repeatedly asked me, why Newground? Why the energy, the time, passion, money? At first, as I thought about a request, I said, oh, this should be easy to satisfy, knock off some ideas. The deeper I got into it, the more it seemed difficult, too difficult. Why, I asked myself. Why? And then I sort of gave up on the conventional whys, and I sort of triangulate the problem, try to do something non-conventional. What follows is something quite non-conventional. We start with a story. One of Nancy and our best friends, made up name of Sarah, has been the life partner with a man we call Saul. For over 10 years, Saul confided with me, and the relationship was 10 years, and over the 10 years, Saul confided me that this past week, as he has often done, that the ritual experiences associated with the Jewish holidays that he and Sarah had enjoyed with us over many, many years. They had a profound effect on him. Paul was born a Christian, and early on in his life took his religion deeply seriously. But like being what it is, he was a Vietnam War veteran, marked him pretty well. A variety of critical life events led him to an emptying secularism. By the time we had met and later gotten to know him better, it was clear that he was a seeker, badly wanting to delve ever deeper into something meaningful, into the Jewish experience as he felt it in our household. The Jewish religion, Sarah, actively Jewish for many decades, wasn't up to the journey that Saul had laid out for them together. As I had seen it, Saul was left with the deepest need of spiritual comfort. Last week, after a chance meeting on the street, Saul stopped me and thanked me once again for what I had done for him. He paused, and then in the twinkle of his eye, he blurted out, and I was really asking for this, but I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. I was instrumental in bringing him back to Christ. We both laughed, a little nervously. Later on that day, I experienced a big revelation. There was a rush of recognition. This was the classic case of unintended consequences of what we do. During the past year while recovering from major surgery, I spent hours watching the life of our backyard garden with its birds, butterflies, and bees. Bees especially. Their endless rounds, flying here and there, or up and down and around. I was asking myself, what do they really do with these bees? Well, obviously they were searching for food and material to continue to build and repair their hives, their homes, their structures. In it, they were gathering matter from one plant and going to another plant. And accidentally, unintentionally, they were depositing this material there. Nature, in her genius, created programs for bees while working to feed their own kind and build structures for them, were volunteering on a worldwide basis to keep the wide variety of flowers and orchards thriving. Technical word for what the bees were doing, they were doing more than this, but it was called cross-fertilization. About 6 years ago, I began to work with Louvain Firestone, a recent speaker here, and tried to put some Jewish and Muslim financing together. So a Jewish and Muslim youth could side by side study their sacred texts. It was the idea of, my wife's telling me I should talk about it.
Talking to the microphone.
Talking to the microphone. Well, I need to be corrected. See, that's why you live so long. We were trying to put some money together. He had in hand, he thought, was a Muslim financial industrialist, a businessman, who had money, was going to get it out of Libya, and was going to put a down payment, and I was going to match it, so we could start this program to have youth who were serious about their religion sit side by side and study the profound truths of their faith. Well, it didn't work. Libya had other programs, and he lost all of the money that he had left behind. And I didn't have any money asked for at that time. A few years later, Louvain introduced me to Brie Lacosta, and we seemed to have a different perspective of what happened in life, and I understand because my short-term memory is blasted. And she was then and now continually in charge with USC's Religious and Interfaith Outreach Program. Immediately I was struck by her brilliance and her chutzpah. Already with 3 children, she was then wrestling with her conscience whether or not to have another. Here's a full-time job, 3 kids, thinking of having another. Husband, a patent attorney. I don't know how people do it. She seemed to have restless energy, boundless optimism, and a bulging Rolodex wheel. Louvain himself, no slouch, is considered a ranking, if not the ranking, rabbinical scholar in the field of Islamic culture and religion. Shortly thereafter, Brie and Louvain brought along Sarah Baston, a recent and highly touted HUC rabbinical graduate, who was seriously thinking about postponing working at a synagogue. Another meeting, I thought to myself, they were asking for another meeting, another meeting. I said, that damn drive down to USC. I'm tired of these meetings. I remember the day we all met. Southern California in its full glory, peerless blue skies, the strong sunlight, the air freshened by a sweet wind blowing all around us, refreshing our silence without either the wish or the will on our part. A perfect day for putting something together, I thought. I guess I was already loosening up before I was being asked. The money I pledged to Louvain to match a grant from the Muslim Libyan industrialists a couple years before was never materialized and never called upon. Here I was, surrounded on a beautiful day by 3 extraordinary human beings, dreaming dreams of a better world where 2 faiths, which had been at odds, to say the least, politely, for centuries, just might stand together, stand a chance for something modest and kind, a modest sort of reconciliation. Again, talking to myself what else to do, but nature herself, and for doing on her best behavior, pleading with us to go forward. The day was perfect. I could and did put the unclaimed grant on the table to start their program, getting going again. With only a few short minutes left to make sense of these bees, the fallen away Christians, Libyan industrialists, rabbinical scholars, brilliant and hard-driving women, 2 of the greatest religious faiths on the planet, and some utopian dreams of bringing together what history has kept apart for many centuries. Still wondering what I should tell Aziz. Why New Ground? Why anything? No answers, just more questions. And thinking New Ground could be I thought deeply about this. I thought New Ground needed a very good, very special narrative to match its extraordinary early history and a strong rhetoric as well. A compelling story with persuasive words and images. So I started, let's see if there's some words you can come up with. Stories that these words may embrace. I believe what inspires our special volunteers, our interns, our supporters, our staff, is their souls were in their youth infused with the spirit, the deepest form of their religions. Life forms tested over the centuries, which were still able and capable of raising up the fallen, healing the wounds inflicted by evil forces, offer comfort to those who have suffered just plain bad luck. These tell us of the value of doing community work which unintentionally has wider orbit, the widest orbit that one can imagine. They are responsible for the plant life on our planet. They are, in my sense, the first humanitarians. Jewish and Muslim religious faith shoot for transcendence, way, way beyond what we have a right to expect. yet indispensable for the continued existence of spirit. Our volunteers, our staffs, our supporters are attracted to new ground because I believe they're tapping into some of the most powerful forces on the planet. This urge to do good, and do better and better. The seeking for the transcendence, and an old-fashioned word which I would like to restore to some of its old glory, utopianism. At one time, it was considered something very sacred and the goal which we should point our energies and our life toward. And I don't know when, but it certainly fell in bad repute, and it stuck because it was associated with people wanting to suppress natural spirit and keeping it in old boxes. The thing about the utopian dreams is they never succeed. That's why we always have them. But equally as important is that they never die out. They never die out. That's why we are constantly stirred to reach beyond ourselves and ignited by such organizations as New Ground. My utopian dream for New Ground is that someday, beyond our most earnest attempts to plan and imagine, it will become the common ground. Why dream dreams of a better world for brothers and sisters, Muslims and Jews, for all of us? Why universal education or self-development for people, offering free the best that we know how to succeed to recent arrivals, refugees to America? You volunteers striving to make dreams realities, who are so lucky being now and young and engaged and having such extraordinary leadership. First Rabbi Sarah Baskin, now Aziza Hassan. To lose one gifted rabbi, one gifted leader, and replace her, one as extraordinary as Aziza, is a special mark. Do not neglect this or trivialize it. It's an unearned blessing, something the other side is giving us the go-ahead sign. At this time, I would like Sarah and Isa, you shouldn't come up, but to stand up. Stand up. That's it, come on. More power, dig down and touch the great waters of your spiritual life. And if you have a place for New Ground more, please join us.